Title: God King Joe Rogan and the first ever MMA fight in ancient Mesopotamia. Somewhere around 2900 BC, in the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, between the Tigris River and a suspiciously well-stocked protein swamp, there ruled a divine warrior philosopher king, Joe Rogan, God King of Sumer. Worshipped by his people as the all-knowing Bald One, Joe didn't wear a crown. He wore a headband made of woven goat hair and primal sweat. His throne was a squat rack carved from obsidian, and his scepter was just a massive femur he used to demonstrate takedowns. People didn't come to his palace to bow, they came to train. And one day, Joe had a vision. High on fermented camel milk and deep in a DMT ritual hot tub, he suddenly sat up, water dripping from his shoulders like divine biceps sweat, and declared, "What if we combined all forms of fighting into one sacred sweaty art?" His advisors gasped. One fainted into a pile of lentils. "Striking, grappling, elbowing people in the spiritual chakra," he whispered. "It shall be called MMA, Mesopotamian Mortal Arts." And just like that, history changed. Within a week, the ziggurat courtyard was transformed into the world's first octagon, a literal 8-sided pit made from sun-dried bricks, barley, and regrets. Joe selected 2 brave warriors for the inaugural match. Enki the Ankle Snatcher, a fisherman with the reflexes of a startled goat. Lugal the Knuckled, a former bread thief turned punch philosopher. Joe stood above them, shirtless and oiled, shouting ancient wisdom through a conch shell megaphone. There are no weight classes, only vibes. A gong was smashed, technically just a guy hitting a big rock with a femur, and the fight began. Enki came in hot with a wild flailing slap attack known as the Mesopotamian windmill. Lugal countered with an early version of a spinning elbow, which looked more like an accidental twirl, but it worked. The crowd went nuts. Pottery was shattered in excitement. Several goats spontaneously flexed. Then Enki, clearly out of ideas, tried to climb a date tree mid-match. Joe yelled, "This isn't an escape, it's a ground game," and threw a clay tablet at him. Enki fell. Lugal dove. They rolled into a puddle of sacred hummus and kept going. It was chaos. It was art. It was MMA. Afterward, Joe declared the match a draw due to spiritual growth on both sides and immediately held a post-fight interview. "So, what were you feeling when you got triangle choked into a vat of honey, Enki?" "Mostly bees," said Enki. MMA spread like wildfire. By the next harvest season, every village had its own octagon. Instead of dueling with curses or poetry, people just started solving arguments with spinning back fists. Grandmas were doing wrist locks on unruly teens. Diplomats were doing flying knees during trade deals. Even the priests started adding rear-naked chokes to their rituals. Joe codified the rules on clay tablets. No eye gouging unless spiritually necessary. Tap-outs must be respected unless the opponent is possessed by ancient spirits. Every fight must be followed by a sauna, goat milk, and a long podcast about what it all meant. Joe Rogan became a god not because he conquered lands or built temples, though he did invent the treadmill plow, but because he gave the world the gift of combat-based self-discovery. To this day, buried beneath the sands of Iraq, archaeologists occasionally find strange tablets inscribed with phrases like, "He who mounts controls the cosmos," "Roll hard, rest harder," "Fear not the punch, fear the post-fight interview." And they all carry the same mysterious signature at the bottom. "Pull that tablet up, Jamashu.